What's up, guys, and welcome back to Kyler Speaks. Today, I'm going to give you some very important and crucial information regarding the art of day trading. Now, the majority of you guys, I'm sure you've heard of day trading, right? Some of you may even participate in day trading. But let me tell you something. Day trading is not what it is all cracked up to be. It is no longer this profitability farm of plentifulness like it used to be just a couple years ago. Now, I know I'm going to get so much hate in the comments and about this video from people that are like, oh, I made money day trading. I made money. My uncle's sister's cousin's brother made money day trading. Well, I tell you what, that's nice for them. But firstly, I don't know if they're actually being honest about the returns. Secondly, that's not you. That's not you. Trust me, it can be very profitable. Don't get me wrong. I can elaborate on that here in a little bit. As someone with 10 plus years of diligent experience, every single day that the market was open, I would day trade. And I've learned quite a few things regarding that day trading endeavor that I want to share with you guys, because the funny thing about day trading is it's became less of a guaranteed profit and more of a giant casino. It's nothing but a casino now. People have $200-300, they put it on black and they spin the wheel, and hopefully they get it. Most of the time they don't. And there's a couple fallacies there as well. Like, people pull their money out when they're losing money. You never pull your money out on a loss. You should do your due diligence on that stock, and then you should hold it. But people aren't buying it because it's a principally good company. They're buying it because of a graph. Now, let me fill you in on a little bit of history. So, starting primarily in COVID. So we have the COVID years, right? That's when these big conglomerate corporations like Robinhood opened up, and Robinhood's guilty of it. There are a few other companies that are guilty of it. Back in the day, it used to be Webull, now it's public. All of these people, throughout all of these big conglomerate corporations, are feeding off of retail investors. Retail investors, people like me and you. Now, here's the thing you have to explain. You have to understand that I'm going to explain to you about these companies. If you aren't paying for their products or services, you are the product. You are the product. Did you know that they sell all of that data instantaneously to big, giant conglomerate corporations, big investment firms like Citadel? They will sell that information to them immediately. That way they can use it in order to extract money from retail investors. That's right. They absolutely do it. I've spoken to people that helped them do it. And not just the people at the top. I'm talking about the people that put in the fiber optic cables. They put in fiber optic cables underground, because that is just 3 milliseconds faster than using the Wi-Fi that goes through the air. So they're getting that data, they're interpreting that data, and they're sending back a counter trade within that time before your trade even gets published. You know, when you click on a stock and you say you want to buy, sell, trade, whatever, and it spins and it says, okay, complete, within that time frame, they've already made money on you. When enough people do it all at once, then click, they automatically have made a large sum of money off of that retail investor. Now, I know I'm not explaining this in the most diligent way, but trust me, guys, I may not be the most articulate, but I know what I'm talking about. I have made ridiculous money in the stock market back in the day. This was 6-7 years ago, and then I quit because I found out that they had changed the rules to the game. They've absolutely changed it, and they're not telling anyone this. These are insider secrets, and I'm not talking about insider secrets to get rich. Whenever someone tells you today that they can make you rich by teaching you how to day trade, just know that it's likely a scam. Unless they and unless they work at Bear Stearns or something. And if they do that, then they're not talking to you. They're not making a measly hundred or even $100,000 to sell a course. They're making millions each and every single day. It's printing money. They're extracting money from you, the retail investor that has no idea what he's talking about. And it's your fault, guys. It's our fault because we have fucked up basically the stock market as a whole. We fucked it up because we've made it institutionalized gambling when it wasn't ever meant to be gambling. It was supposed to be a smart, strategic, long-term hold on a company based on quarterly earnings and profitability and potential growth. All of these factors flew completely by the wayside when COVID happened because everyone had a little bit of money in their pocket. They're getting paid from PPE and they're getting paid from COVID, various unemployment checks, and they had all this money to spend. So what did they do? They started to gamble. I mean, I don't see current day traders as anything different from big time parlay attemptees, like people that put 7, 8 ring parlay bets on the next baseball game or the next football game. It's absolutely absurd, and they're losing their shirt. And I enjoyed it because I was able to profit off it because I realized that people didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And so every little penny that I received, and I received a lot of pennies, that was not from these big hedge funds. That was not from long-term investors. That was from you. You paid for that. You paid for the shirt. You paid for these glasses. By the way, these glasses are sick. I just got these. These are Jacques Marie Mage. They're freaking awesome. They're awesome. Sunglass Game on tilt. Anyways, that is what paid for all this shit. It's what paid for it. It's primarily that. And I don't want to expose this to you guys. Trust me, I don't want to have to because it is just eating into my potential profitability if I were to ever get back into day trading. But I felt the need to tell you guys simply because I hate seeing you guys lose money. You think that it is a fair game, and it is absolutely not a fair game. It is a game that is rigged against you that you cannot win unless you go out and even if you were to take it very, very serious, I would say learn the fundamentals of stock trading. Take a course. And the sad truth to the matter is that when you go take a course like I did, I said, I want to learn more about this. Let me go back to college. Let me take a course. Let me take a statistics course. Let me take a data interpretation course when it has to do with these stocks, a few economy courses, and the rules of the game have changed to where those courses don't even apply anymore. The stock market is more so like a casino, and people aren't making smart and strategic moves whenever they're putting their money in. They'll put their money in a stock because they like the name. They don't know any of the fundamentals to the business. They don't know the business model. They may not even know what business category that ticker sign is. They like it because of the name. Oh, it's named blah, 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 blah. Dude, you're going to lose your fucking shirt. And you're going to basically give your shirt to me. The people that know what they're talking about, the people that are on Wall Street, the people that actually live, eat, sleep, and breathe this data, that's what's going to happen to you guys. And so for all those day trading courses out there, all I can say is, and you might say, who the fuck are you? Show me the proof that you made all this money. Bitch, I don't have to show you the proof. I'm telling you the way it is. What you see is what you get. Read the description. What you see is what you get. Read the description to my channel. I'm just telling you that you're going to lose an absurd amount of money. It's gambling. That's all it is. And you're set up to fail, just like at the casino. This game used to be blackjack, but then people figured out how to win at blackjack by counting cards. This is just a simple analogy. And the funny thing is that they had always known that counting cards worked, but the second that the retail investor learned how to count cards, then they said, sorry, sir, you can no longer play at this table. You can play the slots, but you can no longer play blackjack. Meaning that the second the retail investor learned the fundamentals in order to play along with the big institutionalized trading investors, then the subsidiaries, then they said, sorry, you can no longer be here. You can no longer play blackjack. You can go over there. You can put your money in a slot machine, but you can't play blackjack. Why? Is it because you're an advantaged player, like at the casino? It's because you were making money. It's because you were making money, you idiots. And furthermore, let's say that everyone did learn how to count cards, metaphorically speaking. Just add to this analogy. And they were all in the stock market all at once. That would collapse our economy, you jackasses. That would literally collapse our economy. So, I mean, it's nice. It's nice for everyone else. It's like in The Big Short, right? When they put a hedge against the against the housing market, basically, leading up to the 2008 housing market crisis, mortgage crisis. They put a massive hedge against the housing market, and then the second it happened, those two little gay kids that were living in like a garage or something, they were high-fiving and they're like, I'm rich. And I think it was, who was it? I think it was Brad Pitt. He was like, you fucking idiots. Do you understand what you did? Like, people just lost their fucking life savings. You fucking morons. And like, don't clap. Don't be happy. Don't cheer. People are going to be in a world of hurt. And that is exactly what would happen. So can they do that? No. But the truth is that they just don't want you to participate because you aren't one of them. And you are the commodity. You are the business. Like, they're making such quick returns off of retail investors, and they pay. And some of them not only pay these transaction apps like in order to place bets, or I'm sorry, in order to buy or sell stocks, like Robinhood, Webull, I think Wix is one of them. Now we have Cash App. Even I think Venmo's about to get it in the future. Then you have Public. You have all of these fucking things. And funny enough, Robinhood, it's supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, Robinhood stole from the rich and gave to the poor. How ironic is that when they sell all of your data instantaneously to this big, massive fund that then uses that data, interprets it in milliseconds, bink, and then makes the opposite trade immediately that steals money from you. That's why the second you do something, and secondly, here's another thing that's interesting, guys. If I still have you guys here, and yeah, this isn't some fabricated, crazily edited YouTube video, but if you want to know the truth about day trading, then I'll give you the inside scoop. They are required by law, and I'm talking about Robinhood, I'm talking about all of these trading platforms. They are required by law to give you a graph in order to interpret the stock. They are not. They however are not required to give you the same graph, meaning that all graphs can be interpreted differently depending on how the graph is designed. If I have little short, so you're thinking about an X and a Y, X, Y. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up like that, and then a stock goes up by a little bit on that graph, it'll look like this. But they can also change it depending on how they want you to interpret the graph. So it could be all of a sudden those numbers could shrink down and go wider than they are longer, basically. It's weird. I should have written this down or something, but I didn't. So anyways, when they do that, then the graph looks very minuscule, like nothing is happening. They also don't have to immediately release. So as you can see, a stock will go up and down once it pushes a certain threshold, then it will push it up, it'll push it down based on orders. Okay, so orders, more orders. If people are buying, then it will go up. If people are selling, it will go down. However, they, throughout the day, for each individual person that's trading on their platform, will change the way that the stock is interpreted. Now, is that confusing? Fuck yeah. And is that confusing simply because I am not relaying it to you guys in a very fluent, understandable way? Yeah, but just know that the way the graph looks changes based on the person, and it has nothing to do with the stock's actual validity on whether or not it's a good or bad stock or whether or not it's a good or bad trade for you. It has to do with human psychology. They hire the absolute best behavioral psychologists in the entire world and people that study the human mind and how we make decisions. I mean, trust me, they're making hand over foot money. They are hiring the best in the world. I'm talking about Harvard PhD, who knows what. These people are meant to deceive you. So when you're looking at that graph is intentionally meant to deceive you into thinking it's either better than it is and you should buy it right now, or it's worse than it is, you should hold it because they haven't put their position in yet. The second they put their position in, bink, you'll see it go up, bink, and then you'll be like, wow, I made such a good trade. Dude, they're making money off you. Now, if you want to get into investing and you want to day trade, the only thing I could say, there is only one way that you can get a hand up on the rest of the market, and that's basically what it is. You have to get an upper hand on the market. If you don't do that, then you're not going to win. And I know that this sounds vague and everything sounds vague, and you're like, who the fuck are you? But I'm telling you right now, I don't have to prove myself. I know more than probably anyone that you know about this sort of endeavor. I don't have to break down in a detailed analysis of how to day trade. All I'm saying is, broadly, vaguely, is that you need the upper hand in some sort of way, manner, or fashion. Let me give you an example. Throughout COVID, I knew people in high places that were dealing with the new COVID variant at the time, right before it happened, right before the pandemic, right before it shut down. They were hearing things from their colleagues that were overseas that were saying, oh my God, this thing is crazy. The people in China, someone that was in China on a residency for becoming a doctor, told someone that was at Kansas University that then told the daughter of the lawyer that was one of my clients back in the day amidst right before the pandemic, right before COVID. And so he basically said, put everything you have into Moderna. I was like, all right, Moderna, good. All of these stocks shot through the roof, and it was because I had insider knowledge. Now, is that illegal? No, I heard it through the grapevine. But that is the only way that you get the upper hand. It's the only way. You have to know something that they don't know. And so Jeffrey Epstein is a great example of this. Not to get into something so dark, deep, and grim, but he was a great example of this. He not only would blackmail people, but the secret to his wealth, primarily, on how he grew his wealth, is he traded secrets. And these secrets gave him leverage to then take back to Bear Stearns and use in order to make and execute successful trades that were very profitable. He knew things. He knew that Bill Gates was going to put his money into X, Y, and Z, and thus it was going to raise the stock price of who knows what. He knew all of these little secrets. He knew that there's going to be passed legislation that was going to make this illegal, which means that its competitor or alternative bank was going to go up by 15% over the course of the next 5 days. He knew it. That is the only way you can get ahead in day trading. I'm sorry. Now, based on stocks that are in the S&P 500, if you just want to trade, I'm not saying that you shouldn't invest in stocks. Now, it really depends. There's stocks, bonds. There's a large variety of different things you can invest in, and it really just depends on what's happening with the other things, on where you should hold your money. But if you want to store your money in the S&P 500, then fair enough. I would diversify it. If I were you, I would diversify it. Here's how I would go about it. I would not put more than 20% of anything into a specific category, and I wouldn't put more than 5% of that given money that you want to invest into any specific stock. I would add to it each and every single week and slowly grow it over the course of 20, 30 years with compound interest. That's what I would do. But people don't want to do that. People don't do that. And it's simply because they want money now. It's exciting. It's exciting when you hit. Just like when you're at the casino and you say, hit me, 21, holy shit, I'm rich, bitch. That's what people want. They don't want slow growth, but people don't realize the power of compound interest. They want things fast. They don't want to do slow, steady things, but slow, steady things are the things that verifiably will make you an immense amount of money over the course of a long period of time. They don't want that. They want it right now. They want to hit big. They want a 17-leg parlay. Touchdown. Ah, you hit it. You're rich. They don't want to wait. And that's the problem with Americans in general and humans, just humans. The problem with humans is they don't want to wait. And so I could get into a very, very detailed video about exactly what I did in the stock market in order to make as much money as I did. You may call this a cop-out. You may call it whatever you like. Truth is, I don't care. I don't care what you have to say about me. I am not going to do that because the game has changed, and I seriously no longer think that it is worth playing. The rules have changed, and it's not profitable. So what would I do with my money? Anything else. Invest in yourself. Invest in a business. Invest in something that brings you back money in some way, shape, or form. Do anything else. But the second you put money into a stock that you know nothing about, it's like you stepping into a casino, putting a crisp $100 bill into a slot machine, and then pulling the lever. That's all. Nothing less, nothing more. It might seem fancy that you can say that you're a stock trader, but you don't know shit, and you're going to lose. So, with that being said, that was story time. I know that this is not it's a very non-conventional video compared to what I typically would make, but I felt it necessary, and I thought I'd switch it up a bit, because there's a lot of people getting fucking fleeced out there. And so if I can create this PSA, then I have done my job. Thank you guys very much, and like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.